Thank you for waiting. So now I would like to introduce you to our next speaker. Miss Yuki Torii is working as a Rails engineer at Everyleaf Corporation, and she is also a translator for the Hello Ruby series by Linda Lusas and Programming Elixir. Today, she will be talking on the topic of steps from image to Ruby programming, Japanese translation of Hello Ruby and its workshop for kids. Nice to meet you, everyone, and thank you for the introduction. I'm Yuki Torii, and this title is rather lengthy, and as Hiroto-san briefly mentioned the Hello Ruby series, but this Hello Ruby series, so what are the strengths of these books and what are the content and what are missing? So that's what I would like to talk about in my speech. So my introduction has already been provided, so this page is not really necessary, but the photo on this slide, in order to put this on the picture book, this was taken by a professional photographer. So you will probably see the power of the professional photographer. Okay, so the Hello Ruby series, this is written by Linda Lucas. She's Finnish, and there is a programming workshop or movement for women. It started in Finland, and she was the original member in Finland. And I also been engaged in the Rails Girls Tokyo, so that's how I came to translate this book. And that's how I got involved with these books. So there are two books. So there's one book called Hello Ruby, Adventures in Coding, and also Hello Ruby, Journey Inside a Computer, which was published this year. So this is to teach children about how computer works. And it's a picture book. And the second series is not doing so well as the first one, so please buy the book. And actually, there was a workshop. There is a workshop for the Adventures in Coding. So in July 2016, the Cabinet Office held a Child Kasumigaseki Day, in which the programming related workshop was held, and I was invited to this event, and I selected some of the activities from the workshop, and then Miss Linda came to Japan, and we had events at Tech Kids School in Tokyo and Tech Park Kids in Fukuoka. And in October this year, there was a Rakuten Tech conference in which the same workshop was held twice a day, in the morning and in the afternoon. The one in the middle is the picture of Miss Linda. So today I would like to talk about what we can learn from the Adventures in Coding. And from workshop, I found something missing in this book. So what is missing? So for children to start Ruby programming, what is missing? And also, I would like to talk about the overview of the current education for programming. So that was the introduction part. So let me just tell you what this book is about. Has anyone read this book? Quite many, in fact. So maybe some of you have heard of this book for the first time. So let me just briefly introduce this book. So the first half is the story part, and in the second half there's the activity part. So this story part, this is like same as any other picture book. So on the left-hand side, you can see the storybook, and then what you can see on the right is the activities. So this little girl named Ruby, with a lot of curiosity and a lot of imagination, and she received a letter from her daddy, and she embarked on an adventure to find 5 jewelries, and she encounters a very interesting characters at the hiding place for each 5 jewelries. So if you're familiar with the programming, you might be already familiar with some of the characters, like the green one or the left top. The snake is called Python, so this might make some programmers giggle, but by meeting them, Ruby starts cooperating with them or being taught by them, or sometimes get into a fight with them and then find out the jewelries. And this story is not just about those small gimmicks, but it's about programming. It is about giving the image about the concept with these characters. And these penguins, when you are very vague, these penguins would not understand you at all. So the children will learn how to express what you want to say in exact words. So Ruby first asks question, do you know where the jewelries are? So she has to be very specific. So it's smaller than my fist, and it's cut by either stone or metal, and it's colored and it's rare. Do you have it here? So when she asks this kind of question, penguins answer the question. And then these penguins are very small, so they take on the smaller task. But when they are combined, they can handle bigger jobs. And so children can learn how to divide the work into the smaller pieces and then combine it to achieve a larger goal. Sorry, I got out of the breath because I talk so much, because I usually do not speak this much because I'm a race programmer. Sorry about that. And this snow leopard. So Mac stopped naming their products with cats, so it's kind of outdated, but these are snow leopards. Tells Ruby is to focus on what's important and to forget about the small things. And this robot, so the recipe for cooking, so how to cook something or how to create something should be shared with your friends. So by exchanging information, you can make something better. So that's what this robot is telling Ruby. So this is the power of storytelling. Storytelling power of the Hello Ruby series. So in this programming work, the necessary concepts have been laid out using characters and by providing a specific situations. So it's easier to have a concrete understanding as a concrete image. So this is this makes a very good sense from a cognitive point of view for human beings. So these characters are used. So when you put a face to the names of, let's say, battleships, it's hard to remember the names of battleship without, any ideas. But when you put faces to them, it's easier to remember. So the thinking about the activities. So in relationship with the each chapter of the story, the children will work on each activities so that they can learn how to conduct the programming without the code, because children cannot write codes. So in this picture, this looks like a visual programming. So it's a block of text, or so this kind of using this kind of animation, children think about and obtain the understand how to conduct programming without the code. And these are some of the activities which are done in the workshops. So these are the activities that we had. One is dance, dance, dance. The next one is the rules of dressing up. And the fourth one is the trouble. And the fourth one is for some children. Some are used to these activities and others are not. So these three, the first top threes are done, but someone can complete those three tasks quite fast. So if they have remaining time, they will do the last one. So dance, dance, dance is like a one movement, like a clap or stamp on the spot. So there are cards for each movement, and then you combine them, and then you create a kind of a choreography, and then make a repetitive movement. By doing that, so this is the activity about moving the bodies. And when you do it repeatedly, so first sign is to raise a hand, and the signal to stop is to make a cross in front of your chest. So the condition for the start and the condition for the ends are given. And children will be divided into the computers or programmers. So one movement means one order, so programmer will combine the orders to make computers work. So we do this at first because dancing is fun. The next one is the rules for dressing up. So maybe some of you have done this when you were a child. So on a rainy day, what Ruby should wear, and what if it's not raining? And when she goes out on an adventure, so there are several conditions, and the clothes should be selected based on those conditions. And next one is the trouble. So the orders are written in sequence, but when you execute them in accordance with the sequence, you would have some troubles. So you wanted to start a meal, but there was no food on the table. So look at the sequence and try to find out what is wrong and what is missing. So that's what this activity is all about. So this is, I think it's very simple for the programmers, but the concept for activity and programming.
There are different responses or activities that have to take depending on dance, 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 or being fashionable or trouble things, or extra about little Ruby. Sometimes yes or no is found depending on the programming thinking. So it could be a combination of small and accurate instructions to accomplish some activity as a whole. So as I said earlier, story told about the basic of programming, but that is based upon such a way of thinking, that is, which is programming idea, programming thinking. So programming, when we say it's a unique language, unique words, but in programming, this is the way to express. So we bridge loop. Loop is one way, sometimes a function, a special way of processing, sometimes debugging, which is to discover a flow in the program. And so if you really try, people have favorable responses, enjoy. Thinking is joyful, and of course this is important. Ruby pictures are cute, and of course cute pictures do good motivation for children. Children with some experience of programming say, I've done it in Scratch. And yet some other kids expecting to touch a computer is disappointed by an unpracticed situation. So for those people who did not respond too favorably, actually felt very much fond of a bossy, boasting little Ruby. So one kid is assigned to become a computer, actually personalized, personified as a computer, and another kid, of course, does interplay between the two. And of course, sometimes you find that the faucet is not tightened so that water keeps running, but actually the dad accompanying the kid actually discovered that problem. So we have to include such or this particular instruction before we can finish the job. Everybody enjoyed this type of setup. So as you can see by the responses of children, it is fun to make some things move. But unfortunately, programming education lacks this joyful part. So try to move things, and then and the mistakes are found because things do not move as have been intended. So you have to keep going through in reality actually the trial and error, but this workshop in using book is not doing that. So image programming language, thinking in programming, and Ministry of Education said something similar, but approach is very fundamentally solid, but yet we have some unique stimuli which is lacking unless we do it in a real situation. So I think you have to ask question as to programming idea, programming approaches, programming way of thinking. I think it is only a part, but it's a logical thinking, I think, which has to come in. And also sometimes we say imagination, creativity. That means to make program is to make children's imagination and the creativity something solid, something real, something tangible. So with society full of computers, many computers, still you need to understand the fabric of a computer. And of course, this type of exercise is useful in doing so. So other than Hello Ruby, we have various programming approaches. For instance, Scratch. Objective of Scratch is creative, systematic thinking. This is a unique approach of sharing with team members, co-workers. So platform exists in this, and work is uploaded. And uploaded work can be arranged later, or chat can do that, can talk about that. Biscuit, for instance. And this Biscuit is helpful in understanding the essence of fundamental nature of a computer. So interface programming could be starting from this type of thinking, triggering. And there is another book, translator just missed the name, but furthermore, story and activities. I have trouble finding words. Bit, CPU, GPU, character. They are made characters. So readers encounter with those characters. Ruby programming, this is an add-on, but we still lack, so far, code. Code is lacking. Code is missing as a text. Code is written in text. Children have trouble inputting alphabets, and even though uppercase could be read, but lowercase sometimes is difficult to read. Keyboard do not show upper and lower case letters. So code is based upon English, therefore English native could be helped, but otherwise there is a corresponding table existing sometimes, but yet such table does not cover all the lowercase letters, only uppercase letters. Good bridge is being given, as was touched upon. Small Ruby, people might say no, but this has to do with the particular programming. Mode switching is you create through visual programming and then transfer to text-based programming. That is one thing which we can do like this. So Ruby's adventure actually provide all kinds of ways of thinking, which this book tells, a picture book tells. And Scratch, Biscuit, small Ruby, and actual texts to move robots for children appeared also. Ruby, in this way, is helps to give us some ideas about to become a programmer. You need this type of or this much understanding of the fundamental aspects or dimensions of thinking. So actually, in elementary school programming education, various kinds of approaches are being done, like first grade elementary pupil use Biscuit and Ruby's workshop introduced in later years. So PC environment existing in elementary schools, and then also teachers' capabilities in programming in Ruby, because this Ruby programming education is done through picture book, sometimes advantages as well as disadvantage exists, and good entrance is needed, and then actually the teachers enter the world together with children through those entrances. But we still absolutely look the experience, concrete experience of moving things. So I hope that the future we improve this. What to study, with what interests, motivation, and then where to gather children to lead them to what target destination. All these things are points of interest, but my time has run out. So keep thinking all these things all the time. I hope that we can develop our teaching in programming, and then kids will benefit. Thank you. Thank you, Torii-san. Here, please kindly stay at the podium. We'd like to now open the floor for questions. Can we? So, should you be interested, please raise hand. Yes, the person sitting in the front, please. Microphone. Thank you for your presentation. I have not read this book, but it looks like fun. Sounds like fun. So I think there is something to learn. What is the age range or grade level that they can in there? Depending on the person. That's what I can say. First, second grade, elementary. I think they seem to be enjoying. I mean, I hear also. Before junior high school level, I mean, cannot go to activity level, but repeatedly reading and enjoying the book. So I don't think we can say from what grade. I think that small children, preschool children, can enjoy reading this picture book. Thank you. Anybody else? Hello, Ruby. Ruby is a very cute girl, but in workshop environment, children in terms of gender makes difference depending on the contents and the speed. Well, smaller, the less difference between genders. Boys enjoy saying cute, but depending on whether or not the person had a prior experience of scratch, I think makes difference. Any other? Fine. Torii-san is enjoying this opportunity in the family way. Your child seemed to be very independent. I mean, independent from mom. Right now, your husband is taking care of Sasada. He takes care of kids. So I think both are lecturers here at this event, which is very nice, and I was impressed by the way they look. Thank you very much, and give a big applause. Thank you.